Wow, what a week this been. I've been busy. I've been pretty sick all week. Wow, I managed to pull off a show, but that took a lot in one day to pull that one off. Wow, it did. Well, anyways, coming in today tonight. Remember, Women Freak Week coming up in May, just after May 2 weekend, Friday. Now, the registration is still open for that, so if you wonder, you can register for that. But tonight's subject again, I'm going to put on with this, blog and talking about YouTube and YouTube Pro. Well, I've been on YouTube for many, many years, too, many blogs in many places, few across the border of that. But the one thing I don't like, trolls, for one, and somebody before you blog, I got a big pop ad saying my computer needs updating. But as soon as I realized it was a scam. Oh boy, talk about that. But also, I had a couple of trolls on my channel that decided they're gonna they thought it was a joke when they said, a joke when I mentioned that what people do in real life to on the stage, and these were young teenagers that said this. Before they thought laugh at me. One of them said derogatory to me, dressed like a man. That's pretty derogatory for LGBTQ, not pretty common territory. Wow. Anyways, this week went along pretty slow. It's been wet. It's been rainy. It's been miserable. And I'm feeling it too. And not only being wet and miserable, it makes me feel down and out. Plus, I had a cold. Getting over it. I wake up in the morning coughing on, and the weather, you can't get over anything. You're always freaking wondering if you're gonna move forward or not. And if you try to, it's like, it's true. But sometimes when I look back over my time and I look over the years, I had done many YouTube videos in some very bizarre places too. But one thing I do not like seeing on social media, and it's ultra, the big fight somewhere outside of a school or in a school bully, and they post it on social media thinking, hey, get money, get all kind of marks, all kind of views for it, because people love to watch it. I don't do shit like that. I never will. Well, I've seen people do other things on social media. Well, I shouldn't be doing. I seen like recently in Hamilton, there was a bully decided to beat up this helpless female at a pizzeria, and guess what? And Triple X Pizzeria here in Hamilton, know what happened? Well, they put on X and put it on Facebook and X media, and this video is awful. People do stuff for that they don't deserve to have anything on. They don't deserve to have a YouTube channel. Me, I've been doing radio for many years, and then I tell you stories about CFNU right now. I wanted to. Oh, okay. I can remember going back, way back when days at Hamilton Hall. I remember Victoria Fenner and the station master, and that day I come in to do a show, and there were all kinds of troubles at the tower. Seemed to be a day to do show, all kinds of trouble for what happened when me and Victoria Fenner went in the car up to the transmitter. Oh, that was off of old Henderson Hospital up on a mountain there. Not Henderson, but with the old sanatorium up on there. So I went to the old stand. We went there, went into the room, go for a chronic care ward. I was pretty young at that time. Went in the room, and lo and behold, the old Harris tubing there was. What you know what doing? It was having problems. It started to assess the amount of burn on it, and the fan it got overheated somehow, and because of the blower motor for the fan quit working in there. So then, turned out it wasn't burned out, but it was the capacitor and the motor burnt out. So we, for return to power off, we power down, switch over to just over to auxiliary, and then what I do, we got faster and we placed the capacitor in the blower, and the motor did go, and we got it going, and we switched back over to the Harris tube again, and it went up and went again. We started going out good, clean, but the tube was weak. It kept coming up. The tube was getting weak, need to be replaced on the system. So I looked again, and I realized that the instrument, and I realized, okay, we got to hit that. What did I do? We hit the fulfillment. I hit the fulfillment. What I did, we went to a fulfillment switch, hit the fulfillment on the fulfillment, and I do a fulfillment signal stabilization. I end up fulfillment on it. And finally, when I got the signal stabilized properly and got it up filled up to proper wattage again, and finally we got up to 50 watts where it supposed to be. I actually got a 54. Actually got that little over what we allow, but by 1 or 2 watts over. That's a couple watts over, but then it saved right back out at 50 watts, of course. And then he went back to the station, and after that went home, and the next another time. Okay, we had another time in the old Hampton Hall studio. We had a bunch of engineering students that wanted to record on our big very old McCurdy's 380E board. We owned by CBC at the time. What we did was they wanted to record on, and it's student engineered it. So they wrote a song called the whole album on it, called We Are the Engineers, the whole entire that. And I ended up in the studio assisting them in making sure everything going right. I'm sitting there with not James. No, not James that time, but with Taylor Wilkes. Me and Taylor were just acting all day. We went 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. It was almost 11 o'clock at night by the time they finished recording. By that time, I'm sitting there. Finally, I just figured, Mr. Taylor gave me a ride home at 11 o'clock at night. Got home. That's fine. Oh, my God. These were a good day. Talking about good old days, Mac Radio. And this was before distro came in. Well, one time I'm sitting there, somebody doing reel to reel, and they made a swear word, didn't know what to do. I went in, told them what to do, and guess what? I told them you got to cut, go back on tape. Okay, see? This word F, and this one little word was F word, F off word. Well, we're going to cut that little bit out, and we go in, well, we're going to continue, and then we got back in, ran it through the word, guess what? Editing the tape, cut that right out. You can't do that on new days, so not like the old stuff. All these things, I learned back then, and I learned it all from Victoria. One thing that comes very common for anybody, even today in the digital world out there, you look at a control board of something. You look at a control board, you can go left, right, no. You can go left, no. Left, right, and top, bottom. Top and bottom, left, and you go left, go right up here, left, here, and you go right from there, and top and bottom. That's a basic thing to look at, and any type of soundboard I've been to. First thing I do, I have been in recording studios during the pandemic, assisting people making some albums during the pandemic, and some of these albums turned out to be very number one hits after the pandemic. Yeah. One was Bon Jovi. He did an album too during right then, or at least during the pandemic, and a video on YouTube. Matter of fact, I helped to make that video, believe it or not. I can tell you this one too. I can remember I was doing I was teaching journalism at CU. Of course, I was doing freelance journalism and teaching at the same time. So I still do today a bit. I know, I can tell you one time I got on buses, went all the way down to Quebec City to the very big protest. We got it to Via Rail Station there in Quebec, and we lied down. We all were tired, and we got up. We started to protest up, and we got up to where we protested. You know what happened? There were tear gas being thrown at us. Tear gas, tons of tear gas, mustard gas. I don't know mustard, but tear gas, tons of tear gas. I had never seen so much. And there were some, and there was somebody actually threw a hand grenade. For heaven's sake, the fucking Second World War hand grenade, and I had to. Oh man, oh my, I was that scared me a lot. I took my boot at the time and I kicked that hand grenade. I kicked it off of the top of that hill in Quebec, and it went crashing on. It blew up in the air before it hit the ground. Thank goodness for that. It blew up above the tree line like a fat tree falling down in it. And they didn't know who did it, but they were. QQP didn't know who did that, but I meant it. But I kicked them away. I don't know who threw that at me. If somebody did it with a military grade hand grenade, old Second World War, but it went off 20 feet in the air before it hit the ground. So thank goodness nobody didn't kill anybody. But once a flash made a big loud bang, my ears were ringing after, and all that, and people in QP were there. We got 38 members of QP, 39 of Mac. They're all there, and we are trying. My time desperate getting on, and I realized I can't do this alone. I have to get some allies and get them quick. If I didn't, we don't get out of this alive. And I realized situation. I'm reporting on this. I'm trying to figure out, and I actually was saying even once reporting into a rant that I said, I don't know if we can ever get out of this alive. And I worried about that point. I was worried. I was worrying I may end up. I treated it like I was in the middle of the war, middle of the Persian Gulf, treated like a war scene. Had to at that point take defense and stuff. Nobody. There was a man who owned a corner variety store. He actually was a Mohawk Indian, by all means, owned it. He was ordered to sell his variety store during this whole damn thing, but instead he refused to close the variety store. Yeah, he refused to do. He refused. And the QPP, and they wanted to shut him down hard, and they wanted to do. So the new American Indian Movement warriors, and thank God for American Indian Movement being there. They came to my side on it, and they got behind their barricades, and they were protecting me from what they had a manhole cover already open. You know what we were doing? And I was sitting there. Every tear gas grenade that came over and landed went down that manhole. We actually, I must have sent down in the old brick sewer 246 tear gas, hundreds of them down there. And it kept coming, kept raining in there, and they kept bouncing into the sewer. Boom, 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 boom. And they weren't taking any effect. We were laughing at it. And finally, there were just so many, they ran out of tear gas. Figure that out. Matter of fact, the supply of tear gas ran out, and the U.S. had tear gas there, and they ran out of their supplies too. Couldn't. Well, we did exactly empty supplies at that point. That point, okay, we decided, we're gonna get on here, get down to where Patsy Aspiration Center is in Quebec City. It's a big coliseum owned by PepsiCo. Oh, I'm going to get there no matter what it takes. So me and Gary C. got down to the expose center down in Quebec City. I remember as soon as we got there, I remember we got there, we were sitting there and buses were there and we were all waiting. And there were Cubic buses all there and we were sitting there waiting and I was damn thirsty like crazy, got sweating like buckets. And I thought, okay. Then looking over there, and I saw an outside water tap out in front of the building. It's just basic outside water. I'm so thirsty. I gotta drink. What did I do? Went to outside water, turned it on, started drinking it. Now, and the security guard comes out and tells me, "Hey, you can't do that. I'm thirsty." And I'm filling my water bottle at the same time. Oh. So know what happened was? Then, those days, I didn't have a phone that did YouTube at that time, but I have the Nokia 918 cell phone. I gotta pause it. I'll get something to drink here. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Oh, nope. Well, I'm back here. Thank goodness for that. Wow. Well, it wasn't too nice that I had. Well, anyway, sorry about coughing that. I had to get a water and drink it. You're drinking some now. Oh. Then we got up and I finally got on a bus. Went all night, all through the night. 6 o'clock in the morning, right back in Hamilton. Didn't sleep. And I got home, smelling like tear gas. I had to wash all my stuff. I went to bed and I slept all freaking day, but I was tired, dead, and exhausted. So, and after that, that was the most heavy, worstest media coverage that's the hardest one I ever did, but it was proving the point. Well, I've been doing a lot more now, but over the years, things like that over the years were quite a good thing to get. Well, yeah, but now I'm sort of out of that. I don't want to do media anymore. Just doing shit like that. No, I do a little bit on YouTube, like if it's in a taxi, I look and I make it. Like that one in front of Rover, things like that, but that's about it. I don't get in heavy stuff. One thing about facing the media all the time, you get in pretty heavy stuff, like you. Not what the closest. I never. That's not why I say. I wonder how these people do press awards to it. It was a hard one, but it was a good lesson. That's what made me a stronger person. Having that warrior experience and having that, it wasn't for American Indian movement being at the right time. I don't know how I would have got out of there. I still can't figure that. I panicked too. The whole ball blank. I'm still at a blank. I can never figure out how I managed it, but I did under such circumstances. Maybe I don't know. I heard I might have panicked. I don't know, but they were pretty bad. And now it's very true indeed. Now, whatever happened there, I don't know. And I remember, I'll remember like yesterday, there's something that made me think twice before. Today, and then shortly after that, I did a bit more activism with through QP and stuff other places. But after that, I sort of retired, from I'm a retired activist. I don't go running off to protest everywhere I go. I see actors out there, but I don't contact them. I don't make friends with them. But sometimes I will give them pointers on how to do it, and that's about it. But I don't, and even so, I don't really want to get into it anymore. It's not easy because now it's getting to a point where activists are getting targeted by, in the states by ICE. If you, and on top of that, what really worries me now, I don't want to cross the border. Know why I don't want to cross it? Good reason why I don't want to cross the border. I can tell you why. Number one, you got ICE, police, Uh, yeah. And they're not trained properly, I can tell you that. And they have been doing a lot of dirty stuff besides good. They're supposed to take illegal immigrants out of the United States that have no business being there. But they had targeted legal, not illegal, target legal immigrant. They had target Canadians on vacation over there, I heard. They had, not only that, they gone and targeted things like somebody had a work permits in the U.S. while they had been targeted, deported back to home country. Oh my God. They overstepping the bounds in many places, shouldn't have. And know what? On top of that, I heard recently in I can Six Nations, I said all I wrote when we sat down 6 nights and 6 days and 6 nights behind Pauline Johnson House at the Native Elder Summit. And I was there all that time. You know what? I can tell you honest opinion about that and be honest. I be honest. Here's what we did. Like I looking at this, and we didn't realize we had, in a treaty. I spoke up and I said, no, there's one thing that had to be honored in all treaties. And Donald Trump doesn't realize this when what he did recently. All treaties have to be honored in past, present, and future. And there's so there that means the J Treaty and that have to be honored in the past, present, and future. But unfortunately, Donald Trump don't see this. Donald Trump see the 10-person immigrant Mexico deport him. Oh, to see the hereditary thief, but because he had tan skin, Mexican deport. Get it? And that's what ICE does. They see it go in, and there were a couple hereditary thieves within the Indian reservation. In Six Nations, I guess Chief Army General was over in Tuscarora talking to the hereditary chief in Tuscarora First Nation. You know what happened to him? They turned around, ICE come right on the reserve, totally on Suez. They went up right where Six Nations elected chief was there and Army General was there for a few longer. Wow. What did they do? They slapped cuffs on him, took him into custody, run him over down there, held in ICE detention. What did they do to both? They decided to deport him to Mexico. Well, Arnie, turned around, decided to deport him to Central America. But the problem is, Arnie said, look, you can't just do that. That's just, Arnie told him, you are dishonoring treaties of Six Nations. You are, and James the same thing. Notice no tolerance. Oh, they all say that. Wow. Wow, by the time Elder Six Nations found out about what went on, they went and told on that reserve. Apparently, they elected chief of that Tonawanda Reserve. No, they did. He went to Homeland Security and said, "You know what?" HSS and went to the White House. Look, this has gone on, and Six Nations went to United Nations and said, "Hey, look, two elders, one's elected, one's hereditary, were held by ICE. You better bring them back now, or else, you know what, you know." Or else, they never happened. Demanded, well, apparently, UN went to Donald Trump and told Donald Trump about it. And Donald Trump, and didn't realize it. And that sold the treaty, all three past, present, future. Donald Trump looks at this. Well, that was written a long time ago. It doesn't apply today. If that's where he's wrong, it does apply. Huh. See? So what happened there was, in this case, Attorney General was released back in the hands of Six Nations, and he actually decided to send a hereditary council of Six Nations and elected council, both are going to get together, want to put a huge class action lawsuit against suing ICE for wrongful arrest and wrongful imprisonment. And matter of fact, Donald Trump is fuming mad about it, because and UN is pissed off at ICE because they violated treaty. I think they're above the law sometimes. I don't think any federal agency is not above the law. There are federal laws, and they set out for each federal agency, and each federal had to follow that federal law to a T. If they don't, they are accountable. And I believe ICE myself are not following the law to a T. They're supposed to move people undocumented aliens to other countries, which they did. Now they're starting to move legal documented aliens to other countries, which is wrong. That's very wrong. So now I think of one thing. You know what that is? Donald Trump do a good thing, we get illegal, but now ICE across the line. And that's all there is to it. Even I don't want to go tonight. I afraid me going to the United States, I'm sitting there, sitting in my nice comfy Airbnb, a hotel, all of a sudden the doors open, ICE come in, and they threw a cuff on me, so you're under arrest. And I said, what for? I'd be asking them for a warrant at that point, and they would not provide one. Of course they won't. Or we don't need it. And then they haul me off to detention, and I asked them again about the warrant bit, and they, well, I can't arrest me out of damn warrant. Huh. Believe it or not, it's legally, it's in the law of the United States, the law of the Constitution. But at that point, I would demand a lawyer or No, I said at that point I would demand to speak to either Donald Trump or somebody or the governor or somebody from the White House to come. And at that point, I would demand, try to get somebody to come get that, a man to get the FBI involved, anything blah, 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 CIA involved, because this is not right. And I think the American taxpayers, actually, believe me, American taxpayers are having money spent where it should be spent. And, honestly, what thing's going to happen to Donald Trump, and, trust me, coming into another election within a year and a half now, who's not going to win that election. I don't think Donald Trump is going to win. He lost all popularity already. I think Donald Trump is going to go down the tubes in a concrete. Go down the. He either go down the tubes, the White House, down a concrete cement sewer tubes to its treatment plant in Washington D.C. Get treated as raw sewage. Anyways, enough said about. Well, Donald Trump, or he gonna be packed up in that trunk, put on a big rocket ship. Nick, you and Muck might teach a lesson. Well, put him in a big airtight trunk, pumped with oxygen generator. Put him up and send him off. put him in a big, put his feet by suspended animation, and send him off in a deep space one way, never to return to Earth, having to go deep space forever. And when another civilization finds him out there and they bring him back from Saddam, hey, guess what? He will turn around and they will look at that, run the political history back and say, bad person, bad person. Well, if they find you bad, what happens next? Well, those might be high technology people. Well, they probably would bring him in and probably will put him in the airlock and black him out, let him explode in deep space. Yeah. Anyways, enough said about that. But enough said, and I can't go on talking about it anymore. Well, these are, I said, I think of Donald Trump. Somebody or somewhere, somehow, some wacko out there with a gun can decide enough is enough and wait, see Donald Trump going somewhere in a limo or getting out of the limo to do a speech, open fire, the bullet go hit Donald Trump, killing him, and the soon go and the person that fired it will be arrested. Trial of fast assassination, all that, election, then new president elected. Somebody gonna do that to him. Trust me. Oh man, Doug Ford is another character in half. No, okay, I see Doug Ford. No, he's so fat. He's so much, he's about 450, he's way overweight. His belly's like this. His belly's like that. Belly shows that how fat he is. He's so chubby and fat. You know what happens? Doug Ford is so chubby and so fat. I'll tell you right now, being that he's so fat and chubby, you know what can happen someday? That day will come, he will walk in, let's do a public speech up there. And let's say 100 people will be watching somewhere. Well, the new blah, 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 about more jobs for Ontario, blah, 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 blah. And know, blah, 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 him and all that. Have a heart attack right there, yeah? Well, I see it coming, Doug. I see it happening sooner the better, and I know even my guardian angel Ozzy over here is telling me the exact same thing. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I know. Yeah, he told me, yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, anyways. Yep. I understand that, yeah. Anyways, he said I get off. Anyways, and tell you one thing, one thing you know. I'm going to talk about rock and roll stars while I'm still here on YouTube before I get off the air. In rock and roll, they sing lots of nice heavy metal hits or whether music they're performing. But on a stage of life, it's different from being off stage, And when they're off stage, they're not performing at home or having a time themselves. They are totally different. So even though a rock star may look like a long hair and all that down here and everything else, screaming hard out, like this, or like kick out, like give me good loving every night, things like that, or R.C. Osborne, crazy train, yeah, or whatever. You know something? Well, to me, it's all music creation. You gotta get created. And the music industry is not a good industry. I even looked in pandemic. I thought about what would happen if pandemic continued. Where would I be? I probably where would I be next pandemic? Coming down to the bottom line, where would I be? Well, I thought about it. If it continues, wow, if I couldn't get back to the rhythm, I could probably break in the music industry, which I started to do it, but wrote a few songs, but I did copyright. I still have a copyright license with SOCAM, so music copyright license. So legally, I can still do it. But now I look back on it, and Ozzy told me it's gardening should not work the music business. Got too much competition. I could do it, but it's gonna take a lot of my age, and I'm too old to do it. But I'm not too old to do radio, so there you go. It's just still like I don't feel like this. I feel my age is catching up to. Sometimes I look at myself and wonder about Kel, Dave, and Linda. I feel like I'm a burden to them sometimes, or maybe I am a burden. Maybe not. No, I don't want to say it because I'm hesitant about it. But sometimes, I'm going to mention, maybe I mentioned Richard or Colin next. I feel like a burden, to Dave and Linda. Like they never want to talk to me again. Like a burden. They just, maybe that is simple. I say that, maybe that might get them back to me, but I don't want them to think that, not get back or mention Dan or George, but if they find out I can't do that anyway, well, can't mention it. But honestly, I am sort of know something. I'm sort of saying it. Well, anyways, on YouTube land, it's like people do listen. I love doing live streams on YouTube, and I gotta be careful with it. Remember, being the radio show, I have to be careful saying on air. I gotta be accountable for it. Doing CF and you do my peacemaker journey. Remember, yeah. So I'm getting tired, huh? Oh, remember this. Don't drink and drive. Take a taxi, public transit, and be safe. Don't drink and drive. Simple. Vlog over. Going to sleep here. I'm tired. Oh, I am tired now.